Othello is a study in how a manufactured lie can target the specific insecurities of a disciplined mind, turning a person against their own reality. The story begins in Venice, a world defined by architecture and law. Othello stands at the top of the Venetian military, a general whose authority rests on cold logic and years of battlefield experience. He has secretly married Desdemona, a nobleman's daughter. This bond is built on mutual respect. She fell in love with him after hearing the raw, honest accounts of his past battles and hardships. But waiting in the shadows is Iago, Othello's ensign. Iago is quietly harboring dangerous resentment after Othello promoted another soldier, Cassio, to lieutenant instead of him. At this moment, Othello's world is stable. The truth is clear, and the love he shares with Desdemona is real. This stability provides the necessary height for the psychological fall that follows. Iago's initial strategy focuses on Othello's public reputation. He uses Rodrigo to incite Desdemona's father in the dead of night, hoping a public scandal will break the marriage before it truly begins. But when the matter goes to trial before the Duke, objective truth wins. Desdemona openly defends her choice, and Othello maintains his composure. The attempt to destroy him through public law fails. Then the narrative hits a critical pivot. Othello is ordered to deploy to the island of Cyprus to defend against a Turkish naval threat. Upon arriving in Cyprus, the external war vanishes. The physical threat never materializes, leaving the characters in a high-pressure vacuum. Because Iago failed to break Othello through the logic of Venice, his strategy evolves. In the isolation of Cyprus, he begins a psychological war that bypasses external laws and targets Othello's internal perception. Iago's first tactical move on the island relies on engineering chaos. During a celebration, he deliberately gets Cassio drunk and incites a violent brawl. The consequence is swift. To restore discipline, Othello strips Cassio of his lieutenant rank. Now, Iago steps in, disguised as a helpful friend. He advises Cassio to go to Desdemona and ask her to speak on his behalf. This sequence turns Desdemona's genuine kindness into the very evidence used against her. Every time she asks Othello to forgive Cassio, she unknowingly validates the narrative Iago is preparing. The strategy is effective because Iago doesn't rely on his victims' flaws. He weaponizes their virtues, Cassio's genuine desire to make amends, and Desdemona's natural kindness. With the pieces in place, Iago begins his psychological attack. He never makes direct accusations. Instead, he relies on subtle suggestion, half-finished thoughts, and a crafted facade of reluctance. This false honesty is lethal. He simply points out Cassio leaving Desdemona's presence and hesitates, forcing Othello to actively supply his own dark explanations for the behavior. Iago knows the human mind naturally seeks patterns. By suggesting an affair, he forces Othello to reevaluate every past smile as betrayal. To seal the deception, Iago needs a physical anchor. He finds it in a handkerchief dropped by Desdemona and retrieved by Emilia. Iago secretly plants this handkerchief exactly where Cassio will find it. He gives Othello the precise physical artifact needed to justify his growing paranoia. The sight of the handkerchief in Cassio's hand validates Othello's swirling suspicions. The physical object transforms his uncertainty into a fixed, inescapable reality, making the lie more tangible than his own wife. By Act 4, the noble leader from Venice is unrecognizable. Othello is now a man trapped in a cycle of paranoia, reacting to a version of Desdemona that exists only in his mind. His descent into cruelty is rapid. As his perception warps her innocent actions into mockery, he publicly humiliates Desdemona, speaking to her with a rage she cannot comprehend. This leads to the climax in Desdemona's bedroom. Acting out of a fractured sense of justice, Othello approaches her while she sleeps, deaf to her pleas of innocence. He smothers her. Othello believes he is performing an act of justice. In reality, he is executing a phantom, a manifestation of his own deepest insecurities, projected onto the woman he loves. Moments later, the illusion shatters. Emilia enters the room, discovers the horror, and exposes the truth. Desdemona was innocent, and Iago orchestrated the entire handkerchief scheme. In an instant, Othello realizes that his wife never betrayed him. The true, fatal betrayal came from the man he trusted most. Overwhelmed by an agonizing guilt, Othello takes his own life, dying beside Desdemona as Iago is arrested. Othello's fall reveals how easily a disciplined mind can be dismantled when its own trust is weaponized. A single lie, if it hits the right vulnerability, can override years of loyalty and love. But what kind of dark psychology drives a villain like Iago to build such an intricate, lethal trap? If you want to understand the exact motives behind literature's most dangerous mind, make sure to like this video and subscribe for our next deep dive.